Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel, guys. In this video today, we are taking requests. Earlier this week, I dropped my best value under 23 MLS team, and the comment section was filled up rapid with people saying we want European under 23 value picks for next season, Quinny. And I thought that just sounds like so much fun. Let's get stuck right into that for the next video. Over the last week or so as well, I've had lots of messages of people asking me for the Fanatics codes to come back. Fanatics.com, if you don't know, it's like the biggest online retailer of sports merchandise. It's all officially licensed, it's all in conjunction with the clubs and all that kind of stuff. It's all officially licensed shirts, trackies, tops, hoodies, all that kind of stuff. In the description of the video, we've got 20% off plus free UK shipping for today, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. There's also some codes that will take you through the rest of the week as well. If you're looking to pick up any new season gear, click directly on the link that's in the description of the video, and then at checkout use the code that's there. That way you'll be going to support the channel as well as getting yourself a fantastic deal on whatever it is you're picking up. If you enjoy this sort of content, I do daily Sorare specific content over on my second channel, Sorare TV. Just go into the YouTube search bar and hit Sorare TV, or again, there'll be a link in the description of this video that'll take you straight over to that channel. Hit the subscribe button, come back and enjoy the rest of today's video. Let's get stuck into it. If you could hit the subscribe button, I do daily global football content, everything from Wonder Kids and Rising Star Managers to fantasy football and watch-alongs. That will also automatically enter you into my April giveaway. This month, I'm giving away a rare under-23 midfielder, Luciano Ferreira of Rosario Central, and 2 limited goalkeepers. If you want to stick around to the end of the video, we'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Now, the difficult thing with finding value picks in U23 is you're having to forecast, you're having to go into the future and imagine situations change for the better in a certain player's kind of standing in the team or their progression through their career, their evolution as a player on the pitch. And that can be very difficult because there's so many things that go into it. Us at home, outside observers of, watchers of football matches and consumers of content online, Twitter and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, you can only know such a small detail, a small fraction of the information that is required to make the best decision possible for knowing the guys that are really dedicated and in a good situation in the team. They listen to the coach. They're really an integral part of the team's positive progression on from last season, if, no matter where they finished in the table. As well as then they don't get injured. They do realise their potential. They do take their chances when they come. So many things are unknown, and that's half the fun of it, because when it comes to an under 23 division, like, so many things are possible in terms of what you can win, but also as well the cards that can come good for you. And all the great feel-good stories around Sorare, especially in the under 23 division, is from those cards that get dished out as a lower tier reward, or you bought it on an auction and then thought, oh crap, why did I buy that? This guy's never going to actually play this season. And then something goes in your favour and they start to become a powerhouse. So with this video, I've tried my best to think, right, we're going to try and find somebody who is in a good enough position where thinking about them progressing next year is relatively feasible, but also as well doesn't break the bank. Value is the key here. Value is a very difficult thing to measure at the moment, so all your feedback and interactions on this is very much appreciated. Again, we can follow up with this on this little kind of mini thread, if you like, that we're building up. Now, when it comes to goalkeepers, there's no easy way of saying this. There's not much value there without taking an absolute stab-in-the-dark punt on somebody becoming the number 1 in their team. Muric, it sounds like City want to sell him now, and you would hope anyone who's going to go to him, anyone he's going to go to, he would want to be a recognised number 1, since that's where he's been in his last 3 kind of postings, if you like, with Forest, Turkey. And I think there was somewhere else in between that as well. Maduka Okoye does catch the eye if you're going to be spending like real money on a dedicated number 1 because of that championship. He's at the Watford number 1 now. Is the he signed for Watford, he should be the number 1. That's the speculation until he plays. And he's around 2 ETH at the moment. The most nailed on, of course, is Van de Voort, and he's at 3.5 ETH at the moment on the floor. Auction wise is a bit closer to the price of the Okoye. So it depends what you're really after. And then as you go down the price, Muric is a really, compared to those two, certainly is actually really good value for money at 1.3. You're taking a bet really that he goes to Burnley, and then he's in the same position then as Okoye, and that would be an easy one. The rest of these guys need to get loans, need somebody to transfer, need a manager to change. There's just so much going on with so many more of these. I think Nuruddin's, I think he's actually quite nailed on at Youp, and I think they've just signed him on. He's around half an Ethereum now, so you might see that as good bang for buck. maybe look into that in a bit more detail, because at half a coin, that's not bad going, especially in today's climate, if you can discover if he's a dedicated number one or not. But when it comes to value, and like I say, so much of it is conjecture and a stab in the dark and whatever. For me, it has to be Diogo Sousa. It's just like, it's still really cheap, even with all the fluctuations in ETH and whatever. I think I see if Verbruggen could be down, you know, or Lyson, if they could be down and around this kind of price, this floor price, closer to 0.3, I would find them much more appealing. They feel like, you know, the club recognise them as successors to the thrones for their respective clubs. Sousa, it feels like he's in that position. Boffin, Ruud Boffin is left. He's out of contract. He's now unattached. And this guy's a Sporting Lisbon Academy graduate. Played last year when Boffin didn't play. And, you know, I don't see any reason really why Diogo Sousa would not be the number one for Antalyaspor next season. Now, when it comes to picking a defender for under 23, there's only really two ways to go. You go for a guy that is explosive and really like decisive capable through some metric. Maybe they take set pieces, maybe they're dangerous with headers at corners, or maybe they can get assists because of, you know, some sort of situation in the team's mechanic that they play in. And we've seen centre backs be in this position as well as full backs. It's not necessarily always a black or white thing, but typically you'll get a full back who can get goals and assists, but their AA is going to kill them because they're going to lose the ball 40 times a match. And you've got a centre back who will rack up some significant AA and can get the odd cheeky assist, can get the odd cheeky goal, maybe the odd goal line clearance on occasion. But I think if you're looking for value, the value is always going to be had in the centre back, because the centre back takes a little bit less to go right. And even when it does go wrong for a centre back, it doesn't hurt as much as when it hurts for a full back, because when those guys flop or they don't have a good game, they can actually like really you know, hamstring a team, you know, really cut them up as they're getting into their stride. And as you scroll across, I've added in most of the main European leagues that we would want to look at. There's lots of good value for money across different situations, and depending on what your risk tolerance is and what you're hoping to gain from said purchase, there's lots of different ways to go here. Guys that are coming back from injury, guys that should kick on, guys that might get a transfer, guys will just become more valuable, because again, when you do this research on Sorare data, you will discover that, and it's been said, and it's been said, and it's been said, but so many guys in the top rankings are 24 now. And some of them that still look 23, make sure you double check them, because there's actually a lot that have birthdays late June, you know, so don't be caught out even at this late hour. The 1st of July is the reckoning, is the purge, is the data Andrews call it. So for me, as I scroll across Europe, there's a couple of guys, like, I actually really like Ross Graham at Dundee United, but they're changing manager and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's a question mark, and any question marks I'm trying to avoid as much as possible. For me, I think the best bang for buck that I can find is Kosunu Odilon. This guy is super young, and the thing with Leverkusen last year is, look, Leverkusen have got this incredible back three of Odilon, Ta and Tapsova. On paper, you know, they've all got weaknesses and strengths. Ta in particular does divide opinion. There wasn't too many occasions last year where they were able to play together. Florian Wirtz was a huge injury, and the whole team of Leverkusen last year was really discombobulated in terms of when they were all fit and available and in form, and, you know, they've had a really weird season. But Odilon just moved in from Belgium, you know, coming from Bruges. He had the ground running in a big way. Now, I actually think Tapsoba, he's double the price of Odilon, but I think Tapsoba is elite, like elite. So if you have a wee bit more, I would definitely pick Tapsoba over Odilon. But pound out your pocket today, Odilon, you just need to look at the floor there, 0.17 for a rare. He's 21. He will be a starter for Leverkusen next year alongside these other guys. Mitchell Bakker will be coming back in. Hinchape's in the team. They've got Frimpong coming back as well. And they've got a very dynamic midfield as well to work with. And these centre-backs that get lots of points have a midfield that can bring the team into the opposition half and connect lots of successful passes, build up play, and look to get round the back and sides and play through the channels and play through the lines and all that good stuff to create goal scoring opportunities. And that's when centre-backs get those final third passes that we desire. So for where he's at, and it does, everything I'm saying is dictated upon him playing good football. So as long as he can play good football, this guy is potentially a great get for next season. Now, it's really weird because when it comes to under 23 midfielders, the whole time I've played Sorare, I've always got the the propensity to try and find ones that are really clearly goal dangerous. You know, they do get assists and goals, and you know, they're forward. Think Ferran Torres, Florian Wirtz, these types of guys. But so much of the success we've seen in under 23 has been from guys that play deeper and just get everything, and tackles and duels and interceptions and everything. Sangare, Veer, you know the guys I'm talking about. So I think if I'm looking for value, I guess I want to find the guys that can replicate what I've already seen in the under 23s market, in particular over the last 6 to 8 months. And I'm looking for guys that present good value. Now, with under 23 mids, guys who are transferring or moving up into bigger teams like Tchouameni, or guys like, you know, Veerman's pretty solid. Pedri's got an injury record, as you can see, he's injured at the moment. There's a few question marks are what we're always going to be finding in under 23s, and it's mainly about limiting them or deciding which ones you're happy to live with. You know, is the question mark, can he play really good? Then that's fine for me, certainly, but it might not be for you. You might want to know he can play really good, but I've got no idea if he's going to play or not. I'm sometimes okay with that. But for a value video, I'm not, because I don't want anyone to think, oh, that's a good guy, pick him up and then he's bench fodder. Because I don't mind buying bench fodder, especially with some of these underdog competitions, whatever. A guy that can get a high score in 30 minutes once in a while can become useful. But again, lots of handy guys here, lots of different shapes and sizes across Europe, and value, bang for buck, is the main thing I'm looking for. With under 23 mids, as we've seen with Vinicius Souza at the moment, he's trading now up at, well, his floor price is half an ETH. I picked one up just as all the prices were readjusting and whatever the other day. But as you can see with the frenzy of transfer speculation around him, around Sangare, and there's been one or two others, that these guys can go right to the top of European football. And as much as sometimes on SO5 that might be a wee bit of short-term pain, and Coop Miners is probably the poster child of this, especially for midfielders that are actually really elite talent quality. The actual journey it takes to move from Challenger to Champion Europe isn't always a lot of fun for card holders for different lengths of time, really. Ultimately, having an under 23 guy that goes to the top of European football is kind of what you're after. Now, you do want good SO5 production, of course, but, you know, I'm, you know, a guy that's 22 at a nobody club that's, is sufficient for certain situations. But when I'm thinking about value, I want to I want to think in my head the best case scenario. He kicks ass and takes names, he plays super well, and then he gets the big transfer. What does that then do to his price from starting point where I find him? Actually, looking at it now, Matías Nunes, he is still U23 next year. He's actually quite interesting at 0.28. I must be saying, it's just caught my eye. He's not quite goal dangerous. I was actually looking at Turnbull's price at 2 ether now. That's just incredible. My eye's always going to be pulling to the guys that can get goals and do something on a match day that can change a match. But as I say, I'm really trying to pull myself a wee bit more to that safer option of the guy that gets duels, gets passes, goes box to box, tackles, goal line clearances, goals, assists, can get half a dozen of everything all season. And the only guy for that, especially around the kind of price you're finding him at now, is Kayun Kone. Now, Kayun Kone, I've just sold his rare. I didn't actually have it for that long. I do have his limited. But this guy, if you watch him, like, this guy is an elite midfielder waiting to happen. His debut season in the Bundesliga, having come from like second division France, youth football, etc., it's been incredible. Gladbach weren't that great, and the change in manager for next season, you know, let's see how it all works out. Daniel Farker will definitely have this team attacking, and, you know, I don't really know what really Gladbach were missing last year. It just didn't happen. It just, you know, nothing ever really came for them. No big wins or anything like that. And Kayun Kone's scores were still as good as they look. You know, when you go look at his scores, you'll go, oh, this guy was actually okay. But Gladbach were honking. You know, so they surely can only improve. You would hope Farka's going to give them at least a nice bounce at the beginning of the season to get some confidence. And, you know, that can be the springboard for a lot of the players in that team, in particular the young, hot prospect players like Double K here, Kayun Kone, to really go and have a great second season in the Bundesliga. And again, for where these guys can get to, then I think Kayun Kone is a great shout. Now, there's no escaping it. With forwards, you need people that are going to play as often as possible. Under 23 forwards can be the most difficult to get a relatively good rate on. Guys that will play like over 90% of matches feature, if not start, as well as guys that can get close to double-digit decisives. Ideally, double-digit goals alone with any assists is absolute gravy on top. they come at a price if there's any prospect of it at all. And if it's anywhere near what any of us would figure is guaranteed, then the price builds that right into it. So I say the first thing I want is a guy that's going to play as often as possible, absolutely often as possible. And you know, generally speaking, like you can go two ways with this. You can either go for like the Ekitike type, the guy that, or Mukuoko, Borussia Dortmund, like the really young guy that's just too hot, not for the team not to play them, and you know that they're just going to be on everything. But they're so young and so raw that their output is a bit, you know, to be determined, let's say. And then you've got the other end of the scale where you've got the guys that are over, let's say 20, right? So let's say they're 21, 22 or 23. Those strikers, if you've got any of them in a starting team, typically they're known, we'll know their names, like Alexander Isak has just came on screen now, for example. There's Amin Gouiri, and then one of the guys that I'm thinking about, Jorginho Rutter. Now, Jorginho Rutter, again, first season in the Bundesliga with Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim, they're now, like, this is a funny one, right? Because they have bagged their manager. There's no, I don't think their new manager has been appointed as of yet, right? Now, I don't know what's happened with Rutter. I think maybe his supply is just clogged right up. His floor at the moment is 1.6 Ethereum, but his average pricing is 0.45. So I don't think he's had any auctions recently, basically, and the floor's just been jacked up with him because he is a high prospect for next year. I really think next summer, Jorginho Rutter is going to be one of the big strikers on the transfer market for the next club who needs a striker kind of idea. He's young, he's robust, and you know, even when you look at his heat maps and you watch him play, he's not a in the box predator type, if you know what I mean. He plays for Hoffenheim, he goes all over the place, he's a great footballer, he really is. And as long as, you know, he didn't even start that often for Hoffenheim last year, so I am speculating on his starts going up. But him along with Kramaric and some of the other pieces in that team, like Hoffenheim are always going to score goals, it's just in that team's blood at this point. And you know, if this guy's going to play a lot, then he's going to get goals and assists, no problem. And being a France Youth International at that kind of price and with a rising profile in European football, again, we're thinking about value and upside, and I think he just offers it in spades. Now, if you're after a little punt, I wouldn't mind saying Liam Labada. He will play a significant amount of minutes next year. When he starts, how often he starts, who knows, right? But he will get goals and assists, like, you know, so again, like I was saying earlier, like I don't mind a wee bit of bench fodder, and Liam Labada would be the absolute poster child for it this year. I don't, you know, it depends on what your gallery is, and it might even just be like your underdogs teams or whatever. But and again, the U23 premium on an underdog player is probably not economic. But you know, whatever your core purpose might be for the occasions where you're not sure what his minutes are going to be, and then when you know, like it's confirmed, like somebody's suspended, or you can work out the rotation part and you can see, yeah, he's going to play at the weekend, he's going to get goals and assists undoubtedly. He's 20, so highly rated as well. But I'm going to be biased with the final one, and that is Lucas Nemeka. Now, he's still under 23 eligible for next season. He's actually a major part of my plans for U23 next season. Niko Kovac has come into Wolfsburg. Nemeka is going to be the main man up front with Kroos and Wind next to him, and Kovac is going to get that Frankfurt style football playing, and this guy being the spearhead of it. Look at his price at the moment. I think people must think he's aging out or something. He's under half a coin at point of recording at the moment. That will probably change. And he's just been in the German national team. He's got a couple of minutes. That's 2 German international caps in a row he's been invited to, and he's had a couple of caps now. He's slowly progressing his career on. He had some injuries last season that did hold him back, but if you look at his decisive actions to minutes, like, it's actually a really decent ratio. Having him paired with the Rutter, I think gives us like a good spearhead, because it is a value team, okay? So what this team will be going up against is really good stacks of high-powered quality players from the tippy top of European football and world football, really, to be quite honest. But as a value team, and as any, like, if you have a good rare team and you have a position, like for me, like for a team I was going to build like this, like you can get this team for, let's just call it 1.7 ETH if you're going to go and try and, you know, get it rapid on the actual recent averages. But who knows about the floor price and all the rest of it, right? But if you were to go and pick up a team like this, having a double forward there as well as like what the defender and midfielder offers you, and then if the goalkeeper does get the job, then this team can be a lot of fun throughout the European season. They're all in the Bundesliga as well, with the exception of the goalkeeper. For obvious reasons, there is no stated under 23 goalkeeper as a number 1 in the Bundesliga. at point of recording, so we'll have to go out with. And part of the reason Sousa is one of the gambles we would take, and you might want to even look at Bayezid, who is in the same position but double the price. An under-23 goalkeeper in Turkey. The Turkish fixtures will always pretty much marry up with the Bundesliga nice and neatly, so they can all be played together as long as they're fit and available. But when you get the weeks when both the strikers come in with their decisive actions, they both hit and they're getting close to 70 odd. Both of these guys back here are close to getting around the 60s without decisive actions. You add on your captain multiplier and any XP, and very quickly, before we even talk about the goalkeeper, you're staring down 280 points. Typically in this division, you're looking at about 320 to be picking up rewards. So when these things happen, you should be able to collect enough points to be at least getting into the bottom end of the rewards. And then if things go nuclear, you know, this guy gets a hat-trick and this guy bangs out a 90 with one decisive and that happened to him and he saved a penalty, then the team, because they play all the time, or they pretty much all, they should play very often, it increases the probability of when those things happen, you're in the position to make the most of it. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and again, we can pick up with this in the next video. Don't forget, if you're picking up any merch for the new season, I'll be dropping links in the Fnatic stuff whenever I get the links that I think are very good, discounts and all that kind of stuff. I'll always look after you with the stuff I get, of course. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and retweet, and all that good stuff. Make sure you check out Sorare TV on YouTube with the End Product Podcast on it. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Let's get into all the giveaway stuff before I let you go. I'm still doing monthly giveaways and I'm making it easier to enter. If you want to be entered to win this month's prize or any future giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button, you need to be a subscriber to enter, then leave a comment down below. Each month, a random comment from a random video will be selected as the winner, so the more videos you leave a comment on, the better the chance you've got of winning any of my giveaways. All the winners are announced at the end of videos the same way as we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video today, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. On screen now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.